I'm going to take you down a little walk down memory lane. And don't mind this poor editing. I put this together as a slideshow because I just wanted to go through it with myself and then go through it with you guys as well. The year is 1998, and I remember it distinctly. I'm sitting in what at the time I thought was the coolest bedroom of all time. I remember it had dark wood paneling, monster green rug, and the coolest custom made bunk bed to this day I have ever seen. This, of course, was the bedroom of my cousin Mario. And my cousin Mario is sitting there playing a game. And I'm sitting there enthralled watching him play this game. And I've told this story before. But he's playing this game, and I'm just sitting there like wide eyes, bushy tail, just like, oh man, this game looks really fun and this game looks really cool. So I say, hey Mario, what is this game? And he says, it is Dragon Quest Monsters. Well, Dragon Warrior Monsters at the time. And he's playing it on his Super Nintendo using the Virtual Boy cartridge that you could use to play it on a TV. And I remember watching him and seeing these super cool monsters and playing the game and just really, really taking a liking to the aesthetic. At this point, I had already been playing Pokemon Red, and I was like, oh man, this looks like another game that would be right up my alley. And I've never heard of Dragon Warrior at this point. I'm only 8 years old. And so I went home, and every single time in school I would get a report card, my parents would give me money. So I remember saving up, and games were $40 at the time. I remember going to Sucon's on Cross Bay Boulevard in Queens, New York, and picking up a game. This game. And I remember playing Dragon Warrior 3 and getting through it and just being like, oh man, this looks different. This is a lot different than the game that I've seen. Maybe I just have to get a little bit further into the game for it to actually look the same. So I played, and it was a little bit too difficult for me to really pick up and put down too well. So, my juvenile brain wasn't quite ready for the difficulty of Dragon Warrior 3. So I remember going back to my cousin Mario's house and being like, hey man, I bought this game, and it's not the game that you showed me. What's going on with this? Am I just not far enough into the game? And he goes, oh, that's Dragon Warrior 3. That's the main series game. The game that I was playing was Dragon Warrior Monsters. It's a spin-off series from the same developers. But what you guys, the main series game. So I was like, oh, cool. And then he let me borrow Dragon Warrior Monsters 1 because he was done with it by that time. So I went home and I played Dragon Warrior Monsters 1. And I loved it. And I loved it to bits. And I remember distinctly 2001, 11 years old now, and asking my parents for the new games, Dragon Warrior Monsters 2, but I specifically asked for Kobe's Journey. Unfortunately, Kobe's Journey was sold out, and the only one my parents could find was Tara's Adventure. So I got just Tara's Adventure, and that was fine. I played the shit out of Tara's Adventure, and I loved Dragon Warrior Monsters 2. Going around getting all the magic keys, getting all the monsters, breeding them up. I had a whip bird that was plus 99 and had Hell Blast, and it was great. And I just remember loving this game to absolute shreds and playing it and just really spending a ton of time playing this game. It was the first colored Dragon Warrior Monsters game, and oh god, it's just, to this day I go back and I play it, and it's still fun, and it's still a great experience for me, especially with like the remakes, which I wish would come to America. Well, we'll get to that later on. Then fast forward to 2006, Dragon Quest Monsters came out, and I remember picking it up because at that point Dragon Quest had been re-releasing games like 4, 5, and 6. And I remember picking this up and creating my character, who for some reason I named Punjab. Not entirely sure why. But I did, and I must have thought it was funny at the time. I still think it's kind of funny. But I remember playing it for maybe like an hour or two and not really feeling it. And so I passed it on to Jay, my brother. And he played the shit out of it. He loved it. Which, over time, I was like, oh man, you still playing Dragon Quest Monsters? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, how do you like it? He's like, oh, I really love it. I'm making this team right now, blah, blah, blah. And I remember going out and buying a second copy of the game And Jay actually gave me a Battle Rex, who I named Lizzie, of course, because that was the name of the Battle Rex from Dragon Monsters 1. Uh, and yeah, having a high level Battle Rex made the game pretty easy, and I caught up in no time, and I loved it. I thought that I don't know how I missed out on this experience the first time playing it, but for some reason the first time it just didn't sit that well with me. And then, Dragon Quest 9 came out, and this is by far one of my favorite games ever. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it's Dragon Quest. It has everything to do that this was the game that me and Jay messed around it the most. I love this game. This game introduced grottos into the system, which were multiplayer, and you could go through these grottos and find boss monsters, and you could just dick around and not take it too seriously. And I remember me and Jay were the worst team until we had to get serious, and then we were a great team. And boy, oh boy, Captain Curtsying in front of monsters, just acting as if you were the villain and summoning the bad guy, and then you have to fight him, and you're like, oh man, I'm just gonna fight him with you, blah blah blah. It was silly, and I loved it, and we played so much of it, and it was very, very, very long lived because we played this game until you literally couldn't anymore, until the servers went down, and you were kind of screwed out of it. But I loved 9, but not as much as I loved Joker 2. And I'm sorry this picture is so small. I guess I can make it a little bit bigger. For some reason it rendered really small when I downloaded it. And so Dragon Quest Monsters 2. I had no hold up on getting Dragon Quest Monsters 2 Joker. Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2. The long name. And I remember playing this game, and me and Jay got this game simultaneously. And I remember we were both playing it. We would both have battles. We would make rules for our battles, no weapons. Oh, you can only use this kind of monster. And we would go ham. And this game introduced ranking battles as well. Ultra Scout, Mega Scout, Super Scout, and stuff like that as well. And unbeknownst to me and Jay, we were our biggest detriments. We were constantly rank 1 and rank 2, and we were equally getting mad at each other without knowing it was each other. Jay was Jay, but of course I couldn't think, oh, this is Jay. And also I was using the name Set Sail, just as an alias name. It was the first time I ever really gotten into an alias name. And I was using Set Sail, and I'd be rank 1 one week, he'd be rank 1 week, and we didn't know it was each other until one day we sat down and we were actually talking about it. I was like, oh, how are you doing in the rankings? He's like, oh, I'm doing pretty good. He's like, but this one kid keeps beating me. He's like, we've been flip-flopping. And he's like, I was like, yeah, I'm going through that same thing. I was like, wait a minute. He's like, are you Set Sail? And I was like, yeah, are you Jay? Obviously, I know he was Jay, but I didn't know he was using the name Jay for the rankings. I thought it was just happenstance. And it was in that moment that we were like, oh my god, we've been killing each other every week. So then we made a pact to not be in the same ranking as each other week in and week out. So we had a ton of fun with Dragon Quest Monsters 2. And then this happened. This is Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2 Professional, the upgraded version of the game, which featured a lot more monsters, a lot more capabilities for each monsters, and it was a much more in-depth game. Unfortunately, it never made its way to America, which led to a spiral that we see here. Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 3 never came to America. 3 Professional. 10 Rivals Ace. Dragon Quest Walk. Super Light. All these games started coming out Japan only. And it became a very dark time for any sort of Dragon Quest fans. We got Dragon Quest 11, but we didn't really get a lot of Dragon Quest games for a very, very long time. And it was getting to the point where people were starting to leave the community because there really wasn't much of a remaining community because we were so deprived. Only the people who were really, really cheering for localization of Dragon Quest games really stuck around. And this is where we became friends with people like Woodos and Dragon Quest FM, and, you know, really made some strong bonds with members of the community, actual members of the Dragon Quest community, who were just as hungry as we were. And eventually you play other games and you start playing Pokemon more, you start playing Digimon more, and you start playing, you know, other RPGs and stuff. And you start getting away from Dragon Quest because there wasn't anything besides like fans translations or playing it in Japanese. And at the time, most systems were actually region locked, so you couldn't even import the games. Looking at you, the Nintendo 3DS. But yeah, and then out of nowhere, Dragon Quest of the Stars came out. And Dragon Quest of the Stars was a nice little rinky-dinky, fun, not fully fleshed out action RPG, where you have a story mode, you also have big boss monsters, and there's a ton of equipment that you could go around and customize your characters. And it had a Dragon Quest IX feel, but the battle system was a little bit watered down. I'll admit it, but I still loved Dragon Quest of the Stars. I thought Dragon Quest of the Stars was a lot of fun. It was grindy enough. It was very much encouraged to go out and not necessarily spend money, but also just enjoy the game and play the game and use the free economy. And also, there's a huge emphasis on multiplayer battling, which is great. Unfortunately, we'll get to this in a little bit, but Dragon Quest of the Stars will be closing down at the end of June. But flash forward a few months, and all of a sudden, Dragon Quest Tact decides it's coming to America. Worldwide release, out of nowhere. Seemingly nowhere. And, you know, it was truly endorphic that Jay and I both got accepted into the closed beta testing. And we both got to experience the game simultaneously before a lot of people got to experience the game. And I fell in love with Dragon Quest Tact. It had everything. It had the battle feel of a tactical RPG, which it was, and it does well. It had the monsters that we know and love, and me and Jay constantly get mixed up of calling them their old names and their new names. Some of them have names that have changed over the years. Like Giga Draco is now Draculard, for example. Robosur is now Killing Machine, and is one of my favorite monsters in the history of the game. We both got to experience this together, and it even had such a nostalgic, good time feeling that I gave it my 2020 Game of the Year. It definitely helped me out through the back half of 2020. This whole pandemic, it was the perfect game for the pandemic. You get to sit down and play and just, you know, have mindless fun and figure out these puzzles. Because yes, it's a tactical RPG, but there's puzzles involved in this, and there's RNG, and how can I force the game to do this, and how can I force the game to do that by what I did. It was a constant game of chess, and it was great, and it was fun, and I loved it. And I love the interaction with Jay, and I love the interaction with the up-and-coming Dragon Quest Tact community. The only problem is, games started getting announced that they were going to shut down. Dragon Quest of the Stars has announced that it will be closing on the 30th of June. Dragon Quest Rivals Ace will be closing on July 5th of this year. These games have seemingly been announced to shut down out of nowhere. And they do pledge the strain from COVID, and they also pledge just a lack of creative direction. Dragon Quest of the Stars said that they had a lot of promises that because of COVID and time restraints that they were not going to be able to fulfill in a timely manner, and they felt that they were letting down the community because they were having unfulfilled promises. Rivals Ace was hit very, very hard by COVID. That I feel Rivals Ace was necessarily a game of they couldn't develop, and a game where it's card based and they constantly need to be adding in new features, and they were saying, oh, this is going to come out this day, and then they couldn't do it because of COVID. They were falling behind, and people were starting to get antsy and angry at the developers because they just couldn't keep up with the growing demand for more content. And now we're getting Dragon Quest Dai, a Hero's Bond. The anime has been awesome. I think Dragon Quest has been on a resurgence, and we're starting to see these pickpockets of little communities that aren't necessarily part of the full fleshed out Dragon Quest community, because there is multiple communities for Dragon Quest. There's the Dragon Quest of the Stars hardcore community where you have people like Liquid Metal Slime, who's a good friend of ours. You have people who play Rivals Ace, which Jay is like the forefront of that community. Jay is one of the biggest members in the Dragon Quest Rivals community, so much so that he was just featured on Slime Time with Woodas and Dragon's Den to talk about the 1,200 hours he's played in this game as a trailblazer for this game. Me and Jay were necessarily part of the Dragon Quest Tact trailblazing team as well. We were at the point one of the most popular Dragon Quest Tact YouTube channels there was. And then the game got released worldwide, and other channels started becoming bigger, a little bit more popular. We don't do daily content when it comes to a certain game. We are a multi-tainment channel, so we don't release Dragon Quest Tact content every single day. But we were still pretty actively involved with the Dragon Quest Tact, and more so the Dragon Quest community in general. And lately, there has been just a shit ton of saltiness and, you know, oh god, it's just so frustrating to me because I released a video in response to a video that came out, and that video was I'm gonna take those off because of the glare. That video was someone saying how this game is just dead and dying, and because of lack of a certain content, that it will be dying soon, and the game has changed for the worse, and people are leaving the game because of the update. And like, I get the frustration. I do. I've never once not got the frustration. The frustration has always been this game isn't offering enough resources, and I don't believe that for 1 second. If you go through the actual description of the game, they are very, very, very abundantly clear that they don't want you rushing out and maxing out monsters, that they want every single monster to have an importance and a value in this game. Will an F5 monster ever be as good as an S1 monster? Probably not. But daily, you go into the arena and there's an F5 monster filling a slot because they want to run 4 S-ranked monsters, and why not bring a 5th just for the off chance that it actually gets to cast snooze or something. But then I made a response saying essentially just shut the fuck up and play the game, because that's all they want us to do. They are clear in the description. Listen, like, we don't necessarily want you to spend money on this game. We want you to enjoy this game. Whether you spend money, that's up to you, but you don't necessarily have to. There's tons of free-to-play content in this game that you could beat with free-to-play teams. There's people out there making guides who allow you to beat pretty much all the content in the game with free-to-play teams. And I get it. It's frustrating spending money on a unit and then not being able to use said unit because you can't S6 it. At the end of the day, you get 3 arena battles. Just 3 per day. So to sit there and say that this game is now revolved around just the arena is ludicrous, because you get 3. And I love the number 3. It's my favorite number. You get 3 arena battles a day. You could do more, but it's not going to count towards your record. And people are losing their fucking shit over the change of the meta and change of the battle and the change of the flow of the game over 3 arena battles a day. I have gone into arena with S4 monsters pretty much daily. I've gone into arena with 2 A rank monsters pretty much daily. I finished rank 49 in week 2's arena. I did much better in week 2 than I did in week 1. Week 1 I finished 1980 or so. 1970, 1980. And then as of yesterday, I got my second loss in arena. And it wasn't because I lost. It was because my game disconnected and I could not resume the battle for some reason. It just would not work. I kept getting a server timeout. It was just my connection. I was at work and I had a little bit of downtime, and it was pretty bad weather here yesterday, and I just lost connection and I couldn't resume my battle, so I took the L. Whatever. It ruins my entire week for ranking, but it doesn't ruin the game for me. I'm still going to play arena every day. I'm still going to play the other content every day. And like, people were bitching that like the content that they just released was hard. People were complaining that it was too easy. So they released harder content in Pizarro's Peak, and now all of a sudden people are like, oh, this is way too hard. You can't beat this without having S6s. Bullshit. You could definitely do it with a free-to-play team. 100% of the content in the game is beatable with a free-to-play team. You could beat Prison Peacock with a free-to-play team. You don't need to be investing $720 for a unit and then another $180 to max out that unit. And I take this so aggressively and so personally because me as a Dragon Quest fan who has gone through that phase where we've been deprived of games before, to see people constantly and actively driving people away from a game, slandering a game, badmouthing a game, saying I'm one of the leaders of this community and slandering this game, it grinds my gears because I'm extremely passionate about Dragon Quest and I know how long it took us to get to where we are now, where we're getting Dragon Quest games, albeit they are mobile games. But the 35th anniversary is coming up, and with that, we're bound to get something, whether it's Dragon Quest Walk, more information on Dragon Quest Die, A Hero's Bond. Maybe it's going to be Infinity Strash, which is another Dragon Quest Die game, which I'm sure everybody will bitch about. But I want to play Infinity Strash. Maybe they're going to drop a new Dragon Quest Monsters game in general. Maybe this was just a way to get a template out and get people more familiar with the monsters. And with that being said, now they're going to release a new Monsters game. Or maybe we're going to get 12. Or maybe we're going to get a whole bunch of shit. But we can't maintain this if people are actively driving people away from the community. If people are, I'm the second biggest channel, Chase Games. I don't care. I'll say it. I've been going at it with him on YouTube anyway. If people are driving away people from this game, then they're going to be like, oh, well, I guess they don't care about these games as much as they said they did. They have been given these games and people just aren't playing because people are driving away. They said it. They don't care about how much you spend. They just want to see people playing. They just want to see numbers. They just want to see numbers in the sense of not financial earnings, but how many people are playing a day. And when you say, well, this fucking game's ruined to me because S6 and I can't fucking get over it, then say, I'm not entitled, but I gotta work for it? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not working for it. No, I'm not entitled, but I need to work for something to get it. Come on, bro. It's so silly to me. But this is the community that they have eyes on right now. This is the biggest going Dragon Quest game right now, arguably, in America anyway. We have 11, and we just had Builders and Builders 2 launched on Game Pass. But what's their newest game? Dragon Quest Tact. What's the game they're going to be monitoring the most to gauge popularity? Dragon Quest Tact. Is that right? Not necessarily, because it's a very niche game. Not everybody's going to want to play a tactical RPG. Not everybody wants to play a mobile game either. But with A Hero's Bond, they're going to switch focus to that game as well. They're going to be doing a dual game, especially with 2 games shutting down. And the 35th anniversary coming soon. Who knows what they're going to announce? But right now, eyes are on us as the Dragon Quest Tact community, and it's in shambles. People saying, oh, I want to be the community leader. Oh, I want to be the community manager. Fuck you. You aren't deserving if you're going to say, oh, I'm the second biggest channel. Oh, I'm the biggest channel. Oh, I make the most daily content. I need to be the community manager. And they never said it. They need to be the community manager. That's just something that I'm adding in because people have been clamoring for that on Twitter. So don't necessarily be like, oh, I never said that I wanted to be the community manager. I'm just throwing it in there because people have been talking about it. But you're not a real Dragon Quest fan if you're saying, oh, this game's going to be shut down in 6 months. And throwing it out there to push people to be not excited. If someone who's never seen Dragon Quest Tact before is just searching the game, they come across your video and they're like, oh, the game's going to shut down soon? Oh, the game's not doing well? Why am I going to bother playing? Oh, the game sucks? Why am I going to bother playing? The game doesn't suck. The game is great. The game's fun. The game is definitely a great time when you have next to nothing to do or you're busy at work. I play it when I'm at work as well. I set it on auto and I just run through dungeons, run through my stamina, and then I'm done. I don't sit there refilling unless I'm actively like playing. And then at that point I'll just use my medicinal herbs, stamina herbs. But I don't know, it's just This whole thing has grinded my gears so much, and I honestly want nothing to do with the Dragon Quest Tact community, and that makes me so sad because there was one point where this community was extremely close knit, and now everyone in this community can practically fuck off. Um, and I was friends with most of these people, and I'm sad to say I'm going to be stepping completely away from the Dragon Quest Tact community. I'm still going to make Dragon Quest Tact community content. I'll still make polls and stuff, and I'll still make how-to tips and tricks and shit. But I'm not going to talk to anybody in this community because I just can't. And like there's like a mixed bag of, and I feel bad because like I said, there is like a mixed bag of people who are on both sides of the fence. People who genuinely love the game and love the direction that it's going in, and who are having fun with it, and then the people who are overcasting and shadowing that by saying, "Oh, this game sucks and you shouldn't play it." That this game is going to be dead by the 6-month anniversary. This game is going to be dead by 1 year. You know, and it's extremely sad for me because as somebody who grew up with Dragon Quest and who has spent so many years and put so much money into Dragon Quest as a whole, I have a huge shelf right next to me that you can't see right now full of Dragon Quest stuff that wasn't cheap to put together, that I've acquired over years of people gifting me stuff because they know that I love Dragon Quest. And like one of my life goals is actually to go to Japan and see like Ruida Savern. But like this is it, you know, like this is gonna ruin the entire Dragon Quest community. And this is gonna ruin what we get moving forward. This is why we can't have nice things. This is literally it. We get something and people bitch about it. Game develops, people bitch about it. We knew S6s were coming before the game even came out in America. Did they come out soon? They came out about 3.5, 4 months in. We knew Heroes were coming. This is no secret. We knew this was coming. We knew in April that they were coming in May. We had plenty of time to prepare for it. Could you prepare Iridescent Orbs? Maybe not. But if you have Alana sitting at S4 for a couple months, so what? She's still going to be a great unit. They get 5% when they go up to S5, and they get 5% when they go up to S6, and obviously more stats because they go up to level 110. So saying that an S6 monster is stronger than an S4, absolutely. But is an S4 monster not usable? Absolutely not. That's preposterous. Like I said, I just finished rank 49 in the world using 2 S4s, one being Hell Gladiator, one being Hybrid. But I don't know. It's sad because I really liked this community at one point, and now I just can't fucking stand it. If you are playing Dragon Quest Tact, obviously feel free to comment and like reach out. I will help you. I will comment. I will talk back. But I will not be actively engaged in this community anymore. I'm not quitting the game. I love the game. I'm going to play the game until, I can't anymore. I don't think it's going to shut down in 6 months. I don't think it's going to shut down in a year. I don't think it's going to shut down anytime soon. I think they're fully vested in it. They've openly said it. They're not concerned about how much money the game makes. But yeah, I will continue to talk to and help to the actual fans of this game, but to the people who are just being bitter and somber and just negative and dark about everything, I don't want anything to do with you. And these are people who are or were friends of mine. And if you want on sub, fine. I don't really need you to sub. And I'm sure Jay will agree with me. I'm speaking on behalf of both of us because we both love Tact and we both have been part of this community. But yeah, that's it. I thank you guys for watching and going down this memory lane with me. I know I got a little bit ranty there at the end. But there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of passion and a lot of love for Dragon Quest. And there's a lot of sadness to see that this is how the community behaves. And yeah. To all the fellow Dragon Quest fans out there who love Dragon Quest and have it in their heart, or are new fans looking to get into it, reach out. I have nothing but kindness for you guys. If you're new to Dragon Quest Tact, hit me up. I'll more than happily talk with you. I'll more than happily help you through the game as much as I possibly can. Give you advice, give you tips and stuff. That's what we're here for. We're not here to bash the game or destroy the game or destroy the culture of the game. Simple as that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.